Okay, we're continuing with problem solving using charts, and we're going to look at three specific types of problems. Cost, income, and value problems. And we're looking at these all together because they're very similar. If you look cost, and you could think of this as total cost and total income. The total cost is the number of items times the price per item. The total income is the hours worked times the wage per hour. The total value is the number of items times the value per item. These all have the same form. They're the number of items times the value. Okay, in this case, the value is the price. This is the wage per hour. And this is the value of the item. And that's going to give you a total cost or a total value. Okay, so these are set up all the same way. Okay, and it can be completely different items, but they're all worked out the same way. So let's look at the first example here. We have tickets for the senior class play. Cost $6 for adults and $3 for students. A total of 846 tickets were worth $3,846 were sold. How many student tickets were sold? Okay, so we're looking for student tickets. So I'm going to call that, I could call it S, but S's look like fives. So I'm going to just call it a capital T, since that's what I'm looking for. Once I find T, I have the answer to my problem. Now I need to write the number of adult tickets based on T. So this is where it gets tricky, but once you learn this trick, it becomes easier. So there were a total of 846 tickets. Okay, and if I think about it this way, the number of, if I call the students T and I call the adults A, the number of student tickets plus the number of adult tickets has to equal to 846. Well, if I subtract T from both sides, I know that the adult tickets have to be 846 minus T. So this is 846 minus T. These two together add up to 846. So if I take away this one, I'm left with whatever's left here. Okay, so you'll get to the point where you don't even have to think about this. It's just automatic. But if you're not sure, do it like this. And then this is what you're going to use for your variable term. Okay, the price per ticket then, we should be able to fill in just numbers. Now remember, it's the number of tickets times the price is equal to the total cost. So the student tickets were $3 per ticket, and the adult tickets were $6 per ticket. So I'm just going to multiply these together. So that's the total cost of the student tickets. Please remember, you have to distribute here. This goes in parentheses and you have to distribute. So 846 times 6, let me use my calculator here, is 5,076 minus 6t. Okay, so here's where it's a little bit different. I have the total cost of the student tickets, the total cost of the adult tickets, and I'm told that this is the amount of tickets that were sold, the dollar value. So this plus this has to equal this. So my equation then is 3t plus 5,076 minus 6t, and that's equal to $3,846. Okay, so I'm going to go through and now and just solve this the way I would a regular equation. I'm going to, first I'm going to simplify both sides. So I have 3t and negative 6t, which gives me negative 3t. And don't worry about that decimal. I mean, not the decimal, I'm sorry, the negative sign. It'll take care of itself. I'm going to keep I don't know why I'm saying decimal. I will keep the variable term on this side. And so I'm going to get rid of the 5,076. And you can see now that I'm going to have a negative sign on both sides, which is fine. So I have 3846 negative 1,230. And when I divide both sides by negative 3, I end up with 410. Okay, now it's important to think about this. If I had a negative number, it would be wrong because I can't have a negative number of tickets. If I had a fraction or a decimal, it would be wrong because I can't sell a fraction or a decimal part of a ticket. So I should end up with a positive integer, which is what I've done. I'm going to go ahead and check. If I sold 410 student tickets out of a total of 846, that would mean 436 adult tickets were sold. So 410 times 3 would be 1308. And 436 times 6 would be 2616. And if I add those two together, I get something completely wrong. Try this again. 410 times 3 is 1230. If I add that to 2616, I get 3846. So this is correct then. There were 410 student tickets, 436 adult tickets. We only needed to know how many student tickets were sold. Okay. All right, let's look at example 2. We've got Ernesto, and he purchased 100 postage stamps worth $9.90. Half of them were 1-cent stamps, and the rest were 14-cent and 22-cent stamps. How many 22-cent stamps did he buy? So now we've got 3 unknowns. Okay, so here's what we're looking for. We're looking for how many 22-cent stamps. So I'm just going to put N for the number of stamps. Okay, so Ernesto purchased 100 postage stamps worth $9.90. Half of them were 1-cent stamps. So half of 100 is 50. So I know that 50 of them were 1-cent stamps. The rest were 14-cent and 22-cent stamps. Well, if I take away 50 for the 1 cent, I'm left with 50. So 50 minus N is going to be the number of 14-cent stamps. Because there's 50 of the 1 cent, 50 of these two combined. 22-cent stamps is N, so 50 minus N gives us the 14-cent stamps. Now this is where it gets really tricky. A 1-cent stamp, its price is 1 cent. I'm not going to use decimals. I'm just going to do everything in cents. A 14-cent stamp is 14 cents, and a 22-cent stamp is 22 cents. Okay, so when I multiply this through, the 1-cent stamps cost 50 cents. Remember, I have to distribute this. So 50 times 14 should be 700 minus 14N, and then this will be 22N. Okay, here's where you have to pay attention to what you're doing. This is the total cost of the 3 types of stamps, and it added up to $9.90. Because I wrote these in cents, I have to write this in cents as well, which would be 990 cents. Okay, I could do everything with decimal, but why do it when you don't have to? So 50 plus, and I'm just adding these up, 700 minus 14N plus 22N is equal to 990 cents. Okay, I'm going to add my like terms. So I've got these two, 750 plus negative 14 plus 22 is 8 equals 990. Then I'm going to subtract 750 from both sides. 8N is equal to 240. Divide both sides by 8. And N is equal to 30. Okay, which is a nice number. So if there are 30 22-cent stamps, there should be 20 14-cent stamps, and we had the 51-cent stamp. So let's check this. If this is 20, so we already said that this was 50. If I have 20 of these, so 20 times 14 is 280. And then 22 times, we said there were 30 of these, that's 660. And if I add those together, I end up with 990. So that's correct. So we'll have 50. This is the one we were interested in. Okay, but notice that everything is in terms of the one variable. Okay, on the try this, and again, I've already done it, so I'm not going to show it to you. There's hours worked times the wage per hour is equal to the income. Okay, and you're going to set it up the same way. It's going to be one of these right here. The hours worked times the wage per hour is going to give you the total income. Read it through, think about it. Don't try to memorize steps. Just think about it, fill in your chart, and write your equation and solve it.